Okay, hello everyone. This is Samtech, and we are going to dive into CSS a little bit more. So let's start with the inline CSS. Now for the inline CSS, let's look at our index.html. This is our index.html. This is about us. And go to home. Remember, we did something like this. So this is our index.html. Now we have this color, okay? But I want to change the coloring of this ordered list, the background color. I want it to change. So in order to do that, I will just go to my code, and at the OL, okay, I will write style, an attribute called style. Now this attribute is what allows me to change the properties of this element within the tag. So now this style is the CSS attribute of this particular HTML element. So I don't need the curly brace. The quotation serves as the curly brace for me, and I don't need the selection a selector, since I'm already I'm inside the opening tag of that element that I need to change. So all I need to do is just to write the attribute that I want to change and the value that I want to give it. So that's all. So I want to change the background dash color, okay, and you can see it actually works for me. So I want to change it to, and let's give it this aqua color. It's a kind of nice, I don't know what that color is, but will it work with our no, it won't. So let's make it red. Okay, let's make it red. So if I go back now and refresh, you can see it gives it a background color of red, and you can see where it takes. Remember I told you that everything is a box. Can you see it? It's a box. So now I give it a red color, but now this color, I want to change it to white. So in order to change it to white, all I need to do is to go after the semicolon and write color and white. That's all. Go to here and refresh, and bam. So you can see this is how the inline color is being used. And I can decide to change the font size also. Font size, and I will give it 20 pixels. It's really big, but let's go with that. Font size 20 pixels. I refresh. You see, it now changes the font size for me. So I can manipulate the properties of these ordered list, all of this ordered list, right here. You get it? So now this is an inline CSS. This is an inline CSS. Okay, but an internal CSS, to write an internal CSS, you will need an element called style. Okay. Now this element, you see where I write it. I don't write it in the body section. I write it in the header section. Now this element style is what we are going to use to change anything that we write inside this style element is going to affect the whole of the page. Okay, so now let's start by making a selection, and let's use the tag selection. Let's select UL. Now this tag selection now is that when you select something like this UL, if you have multiple of unordered list in your web page, is going to affect all of them since they are all using the same tag. You get it? Oh, okay, let's use the UL, which we have only one. Then we'll now use the LI and see the effect of it. So for the UL, I will say I need a color. I need a color to be, let me use color code here. Okay, I don't know which color this is, but at least let me use a color code so that you get used to it a little bit. So you can now see it changes the font color to this. Okay, but now if I use LI instead of UL, since we have multiple LIs, it will change almost all of them to that color, or all of them to see. You can see it changed all of them to that color. Okay, so now let's test the order of priority then. Now for this particular LI, let's give it a style, and the style will have a color, and the color will be equals to black. So the color will be black. So let's see how it affects, whether it will pick black or it will pick this color. And you can see only it picks black, which means the internal CSS have higher priority than, sorry, the inline CSS have higher priority than the internal CSS. Okay, so from here now we can manipulate so many things, like, okay, let's have access to the depth class. Dot depth, sorry, yes, dot depth. In the dot depth, I want to change their font size. I want to change it to 14 pixels. Okay, I want to change the font style. I want to make it italic. Okay, italic, and let's refresh and see. Now you can see, because all of them have the class depth, so let's assume we remove some of them. We do not give them the same class. Okay, and we save and refresh. You cannot see the ones that we do not give them the same class, like this engineering, computer engineering, and this electrical engineering. It does not affect distance. So this is how to use the class. Then for the ID, I say use the hash and the ID name, and what do you give it? Heading. All right, so let me just copy this. I'm lazy to type. Heading, and in this heading I want to make I want to change its font family. I want to change the font family to this one. I don't know how it is. And the font size, I want to change it to 16 because that one is very big. So I refresh and okay, did I save? Sorry, here is the name or that list. So not heading. Heading is the name, or that list is the ID, and we are making reference to the ID. You cannot make reference to name in CSS. You can't make reference to name in CSS. Only ID, class, and the tag name. Okay, so let's refresh and see whether it works. Yep, it works. So I can decide to change the color so that you know that it works, because with the color it's going to be different. And the color, let's make it green. Okay. So let's see that. You can see it changed the color also. So that is how to use the CSS. That's the internal CSS. And the external CSS, to use the external CSS, you have to create an external file called with the extension .css. So let's do that. So on my web tech, all I will do is to click on new file, and I will name it style.css. So now it opened for me the style.css. So in order to use it in my head tag, inside the head tag, I'll have to make reference to it by using an element called link. Okay, link. The relationship is a style sheet. The href, that's header reference. Since they are in the same folder, so I'll just write the name. It shows me style.css. So I will select yes, that's what I want, and after the ref, I will have what we call the type. That's the type of document I'm using. So the type of document or file that is text slash CSS. Okay, text slash CSS. So I save this. So now in my style sheet, now I want to change the body a little bit. So I'll go to body. Okay. Now in the body, what I want to change is the color. Let's leave it. Let's give it a nice color. What of this blue violet? Okay. Sorry, I'm just using a color that will contradict the other color so that we can see the effect of everything. And let me say the font width or the font size. Let's make it 12 pixels. All true. Alright, so let's save it and refresh. So I think there is no much differences in the coloring. So let's change that color as if it's the same color we are using. So let's make it yellow. Yes, yellow. So let's see it now. Oh, it did not work. It did not work. Why is it so? Sorry, I'm coming. All right. Sorry, actually it worked. What actually happened is that when you look at our code, we eventually change the colors of all our elements in the test running. So, and this one that we haven't changed, as the ID paragraph, the moment you apply an anchor tag, it gives it a particular let's say a styling automatically. So even this one also, the color is changed. So maybe in order to see the effect, let's type lorem, okay, so that it will give us some few words. And if yours is not word trap, all you need to do is to press Alt Z. This only works in Visual Studio Code. All right, so Alt Z, and it will text wrap it for us. It will word wrap it for us. So now let me refresh this, and you can now see that the lorem carries the color that we want, and it also carry the font size of our choice. That's the 12 I think the 12 pixels. So actually everything is still the same thing. It's just that we eventually changed the whole colors of our work. That is why it did not work. So you can just go about, look through the CSS, look through the properties of the heading, the properties of ordered list, the properties of paragraph, and try to change them and twist them. And I think, let me do something. The p tag, okay, I want to give it a border. Now in border you have three variables to change in border. The first one is the width of the border. I want mine to be 2 pixels. And the type of line, is it a solid line or it is a dashed line or a dotted line, depending on what you want. Me, I need a solid line. And the next is the color that you want, and the color that I want is blue. So 2 pixels, a solid border with blue color. So I save it and I refresh it. It did not work. Didn't I have a p tag here? Oh, sorry, I didn't have a p tag. Damn. So let me just make this a p tag. Okay. So I make it a p tag and I save it. So let me refresh it, and you can see it gives me that border and whatsoever I want to do. And for the border, there is something, remember I told you about border radius. That's the radius that you want it to use. I think I'm going to use let me use 5 pixels. Okay, although I'm not sure if my width itself is up to that 5 pixels, but let me see. So it works. If you can watch carefully, you see it has a curve around it, a little curve, a little curve, a little curve, a little curve. All right, so you can just go around, check some few properties of the CSS and change it. Next time that we are going to have a tutorial, I will introduce you into tables and divs, that's divisions. Okay, so that we'll have a little flow. Thank you and see you in the next tutorial. Bye.